Hello and welcome to Game Changers, the future of play, where we explore AI, gaming, and the business of play. I'm Tony Callahan here with my podcast team, Sarah Ramos. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Ines Ramalho, developer relations specialist at Xsolla for EMEA and Southern Europe. She works at the intersection of gaming, payments, developer ecosystems, and helping studios and developers scale globally through partnerships, monetization strategies, and platform growth. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited to dive into how developers can grow and how monetization and payments are really quickly evolving across the gaming ecosystem. Welcome on.
Thank you both for having me. It's a pleasure to take part in Game Changers podcast.
Thank you so much. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about your background and what got you into the gaming space in the first place.
So, what attracted me the most was how global and fast-moving the gaming industry is, because games are one of the few forms of entertainment that naturally connects people across cultures, across devices and economies. And to be honest, I became fascinated by the infrastructure that makes that possible behind the scenes. So I also realized like very early that success in gaming is not only about building a great game. So all of the behind the scenes was basically what attracted me to the gaming industry. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like so many conversations focus on building the game itself, but there's so much that happens around game in terms of success. So I think that's great. Um, what, when you're looking across your roles and your history, what is the most important lesson you think you've taken away from helping these developers scale on a global level?
So that is a great question. So I would say that the biggest lesson is that there's no universal growth strategy to begin with. So every region behaves differently in terms of players' expectations, the spending habits, and the payment methods that are used. The platform trust as well, and even the marketing channels they differ very significantly. So studios that usually scale successfully are the ones that not only localize their content, but also their business strategy. So another point that I would like to bring in this for this question is developers, they need partners. They do not need vendors. So I believe that the most successful collaborations they do happen when companies they understand the developers goals and challenges and help remove operational complexity so teams can stay really focused on their core um, task and dream, which is building games.
I love that. That makes total sense, right? Being able to have a true partner in growing something instead of just a vendor. That's a really great way to put it. And you've worked across multiple regions, kind of very internationally. How has that shaped your view of what developers need in order to succeed on the international scale?
So, um, working in different regions made me understand that the global success is actually deeply local. So, for instance, a player in Southeast Asia, Europe, Latin America, or even in the US may discover and engage with games in a very different way. So developers they need flexibility and regional expertise to scale and succeed internationally. And beyond technology, which is very important, they also need cultural understanding and strategic guidance. So I strongly believe that international growth today is not only about entering more markets, but it's about creating experience that feel native to the players whenever and whatever they are.
I love that. And that's a challenge, right? Because it's going to be different everywhere. So that's really
It is.
wonderful. Diving into a little bit of these core insights. So your current role is kind of a little bit of an intersection between developers, platforms, and payments. And I was wondering, beyond just revenue in terms of success, what are some other factors that you think are important for success that's not just, the financial side of it?
So obviously, revenue is very important, but also sustainable success is m- even more important. So I would define success as a combination of key factors, namely the community's strength and the player loyalty. That is very, very important. And in some markets, it makes a huge difference. I would say in Latin America is key factor. Long-term retention, that is very important as well. Strong and partner ecosystems, cross-platform accessibility as well. And I also would highlight the ability of adapt quickly to market changes. So some of the most successful developers today are the ones that are not building products, but they are building an ecosystem around their games. And it is very noticeable that nowadays players, they do want experience, they want communities, and they value not the ongoing value that they can be provided by those developers and studios.
I love that. You mentioned Latin America specifically as a market where the community is especially important. What makes you say that?
The community in Latin America is very attentive to the market, is very curious, very open. They are always eager to try new features, new products. And I'm not mentioning the gaming industry alone, but in other industries, it happens a lot. So in the gaming industry specifically, they are very attentive to how the market evolves, which new games are in the pipelines, and they are highly engaged um, between themselves as well.
I love that. Sounds like an ideal market. Like they're very,
It's
and
a very challenging but rewarding one, and a very nice one to work within. Yeah.
I love that. When you're looking at all these developers, what are you seeing most commonly as the biggest friction point when they're trying to scale?
I would say that one of the biggest challenges is definitely fragmentation. So nowadays, developers, they need to navigate different payment systems, taxes, regulations, platforms, user acquisition channels across regions. So specifically for smaller and mid-sized studios, this can be overwhelming very quickly. Another major friction point that I would highlight is discoverability. So the market is more competitive than ever, and even great games, they can experience some struggle in terms of finding visibility. Um, Finally, I would say that many developers, they still underestimate how important localization is beyond language. So that also applies to the player behavior, purchasing behaviors, and, and with payments, obviously, pricing. So localization goes way beyond the languages universe.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And you make a great point that the market is more competitive than ever, and even a great game might, or might be struggling with discoverability. How do you think the payments and monetization strategy can help with that growth? If we look beyond the game itself, if the game is great, but the things around it in the ecosystem, how can that help?
Um, I believe that payments are often very underestimated, um, but they have a direct impact in two things, which are conversion on the first in the first place, and then player trust. So if players can't pay using their preferred payment method, and going back to Latin America, Pix is a great use case. Or if the checkout experience feels somehow unfamiliar to them, many simply won't complete the purchase. And in some specific regions, alternative payment methods are also critical. So the monetization strategy needs to align with player behavior in each market. So I would say that studios that grow efficiently are the ones that are treating monetization as part of the overall player experience and not just as a revenue layer that comes from subscription models or virtual currency or even direct to consumer stores, as we have nowadays. That is a hot topic.
Yes. No, that makes sense. That's a great answer. Thank you. And it kind of reminds me, of course, AI is happening right now, and as you kind of are still thinking about the whole ecosystem that lives around the game, how do you think the AI is going to impact that ecosystem as a whole, or maybe the developer specifically?
I think we are entering a phase where developers will have more ownership in their audiences and over the distribution channels. So, direct to consumer strategies, creator ecosystems, and community driven commerce, they are becoming increasingly important because studios they do want closer relationships with players and more control over monetization. So I think that AI will impact significantly in production workflows, live operations, personalization, essentially, and also player support. In terms of operational efficiency as well, because that will allow smaller teams to being able to achieve much larger scale execution. So another thing that I would like to point out, however, is that at the same time, this community building and the human creativity will become even more valuable with AI because there are obviously elements that AI cannot fully replace. So overall, the impact is positive. Still, we need to have this human touch all around these ecosystem shifts that we are experiencing already.
Absolutely. I like that human touch. Something that we say often over here is the human in the loop. And I like that, your idea too is, it can help on some of the more productivity things, but then leave the developers to really shine in the creativity and also, provide a way for maybe these smaller up and coming studios to have the opportunity to be seen and be discovered. So I love that. I'm gonna let Sarah ask you some rapid fire questions.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for these. So, Inez, these are quick question, quick answers, but feel free to add details as much as you want to. I think typically our guests like to add on to it, and it makes the conversation a lot more fun. So, first question from me: favorite game or gaming memory?
These might sound weird, but one of my favorite gaming memories goes back to my childhood playing Tekken because I really loved every aspect of it. Playing against family, especially my younger sister, and how she would absolutely hate the experience playing against me.
Uh-oh.
We lose her. Inez, can you hear us?
Oh, oh, there we go. Sorry, we lost you for just a second. Do you mind repeating the part about how your sister was saying that she didn't enjoy the experience playing the game with you? Uh-oh.
Froze again. Inez, can you hear us? Tony, maybe we can just, when she comes back, maybe we can just ask the question again, make it easy for Steph to edit.
Oh.
Oh, she's waiting in the lobby.
Let's see. I'll add that in. Hello.
Hello. I think my connection went off.
Yes. Let me see.
Do you want to record it from the beginning?
Let me move something. For some reason I can see you twice. So I'm trying to see how to move that.
Yeah, I think once she's done doing that, we can just ask that question over again, Ines. And then we can edit out the freeze. Oh, there you are. You're coming back a little bit at a time.
I'm so nervous. I'm sorry, girls.
No, don't be nothing to be nervous.
Especially because English is not my first language. My native language is Portuguese. I also speak Spanish, but sometimes I feel like I tend to make some mistakes that are so stupid. Sorry.
No.
Not at all. Yeah, you've been super smooth to me. I haven't noticed any issues at all.
Oh, okay. I think I just solved that. Okay. Yeah, okay. Sarah, feel free to ask the question.
All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump into the rapid fire section. I have about 5 questions here. They're designed to be quick question, quick answer, but feel free to add details. I think it makes it more interesting when we do it that way. It feels like a kind of a common thread with our guests on the podcast. So first question, favorite game or gaming memory?
So this might sound weird, but one of my favorite gaming memories ever goes back to my childhood playing Tekken, and I absolutely loved every competitive aspect of it, especially playing against my family. Namely my younger sister, she would hate the experience. So, and the sensation of the feeling of improving over time. So Tekken definitely is one of my dearest memories when it comes to gaming.
That's so fun. I love the attachment to your family too, because it becomes part of your core memories, right?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, next question for me. One habit that's made the biggest difference in your career?
Staying curious and paying attention beyond my direct role. So one thing that really helped me grow was learning from different internal teams and understanding how all the pieces connect, especially in industries like gaming and payments where everything is absolutely interconnected.
I love it. I love it. Biggest trend in gaming or payments that excites you?
Okay, I might be biased, but the rise of direct-to-consumer ecosystems and alternative monetization channels, it's very exciting to see developers gaining more ownership over player relationships while creating more personalized commerce experiences outside the traditional platforms that have their limitations.
I love it. All right, the next question. One skill gaming professionals will need much more of in the next 3 to 5 years.
Adaptability, definitely. That is the key for the next 5 years for anyone that is eager to succeed in the gaming industry. Yeah, especially with the advent and development of the AI.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like AI is moving so quickly, but also along with it is the gaming industry, right? Just the way that things are changing and shifting. I mean, we went from physical games and cartridges to now all digital, playing in big groups. So yeah, I think that's a good skill that we should all be thinking about. Um, last question for me. If you weren't in gaming, what would you be doing?
Well, definitely, I would be working in the media industry or international business. So I'm very drawn to industries that combine creativity, communities, and technology. So that would be, those two would be my industries to go to if I was not in gaming. But I don't think it will happen because definitely I'm very happy in gaming.
Good, good. Love it.
Love that. Well, Inez, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think your perspective on payments, platforms, and especially developer growth really highlights how critical the ecosystem strategy is for the future of gaming. So we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's a
Of
pleasure.
course. Of course. For our audience, if you enjoyed this episode, you can find Game Changers, the future of play on Spotify, YouTube, or on our website, securaqs.ai, but we'll also include all those details in the caption. Ines, thank you so much. It was so great to have you on.
You.
Thank you.